Hi, it's Marianne, and today I'm going to be demonstrating a couple of bandaging techniques. I highly recommend that you purchase one of the first aid kits from Gap, the Greyt Stuff store, or create your own. But always, when you've got a Greyhound, make sure that you've got a first aid kit, just a basic first aid kit in your car, just to wrap them up if anything happens, and you can get them to the vet straight away for treatments. So what we'll be covering today is just basic bandaging techniques. A little bit about me. I am a registered vet nurse. I also do mobile vet nursing, as well as canine massage and animal rehabilitation and physical therapy. So if there's any questions or anything, you can always just flick me a little message. We can touch base if there's anything in particular that you've got questions about. So, okay, we'll get started. So, basically, we'll go through a couple of things. Always keep your muzzle handy in the car. You might not always need it, but when your dog's hurt and in pain, it's always best just to pop it on when you are working with them. Always, if possible, work with gloves as well. I think that the Gap first aid kit has got gloves in it. We just want to try and keep the wounds and everything as clean as possible. Always make sure that you keep a little bit of water in your car. So I know when we take our dogs on a walk, we usually have water with us. That's also really important. So I'll demonstrate with Dolly as well. My Greyhound, Dolly Jetson Swan, she's I started off with a first aid kit in the car, and then ended up doing a first aid course, and then ended up doing vet nursing, my diploma. So she totally changed my career. Okay. So I'm going to place the little dog on its side. Always much easier if they're lying down to be able to do what you need to do. And I'm just, before we get started, just going to go through a couple of things. So in your first aid kit, you're going to have vet wrap, and you're also going to have a couple of dressings in there as well. I've also got what they call soft band, which there should always be 3 layers of bandaging when you are doing it, but if you're doing it quickly, the most important layers is your soft band, which is the first layer, and then there's also known as your padding layer, and then you can use your conforming bandage, which just gives a little bit of extra support, and then your protective layer, which is your vet wrap, and that's that nice sticky bandage that we like to use. And then also just a little dressing. These Teflon dressings work really nicely, and you can get that either from your vet or from the pharmacy. Okay. Other things, there will be a pair of scissors in your kit as well, and make sure you have a little bit of antiseptic cream. I think that there is some in the Gap Greyt Stuff first aid kit. And what I also like to keep in the car is just this little bit of betadine, and it's just sore throat gargle actually, but it is concentrate, and what you need to do is dilute that to the colour of a very light tea. Another thing that you could do is ask your vet for a little bit of chlorhexidine, or you could purchase this as well, which is basically the same thing. It is concentrate, so you do need to dilute it. And just something to note, that if you are using chlorhexidine, never ever use it around the eyes, the nose, the mouth, so anything that's got mucous membranes, including the dog's willy, vagina or bumhole. So it can cause quite a lot of irritation. So the contact time as well, when you are cleaning up the wound, is 5 minutes. So you need to leave that on there for at least 5 minutes so that it can do what it needs to do, and then make sure that you thoroughly rinse all these antiseptics off as well. Okay. So we'll get started with our little dog called Spot. Okay, and I'm just going to, like I said, be demonstrating just very basic technique. And there are techniques for doing the foot, for doing the tail, for doing ears, and as well as anything around the tummy areas. But those we'll get into in separate little video clips. So we'll just be applying a little bit of that onto the dressing. We've already cleaned out the wounds with the antiseptic. Please never ever use your cotton wool balls. There's always lots and lots of little strands that come off cotton wool balls, which can create infection. So we want to avoid that. What I do is just keep a couple of these nice little cotton makeup pads that you can just get from the supermarket in the car as well. So yeah, you can just pop the betadine onto that. They're both concentrate diluted, and then you just clean that out. So, and again, you just want to clean and throw away, and then use a new one and clean and throw away to avoid any contamination. Again, this is when you're out and about, so we're just basically covering the wound to stop the bleeding, and just to take straight to the vet for further treatment. Okay, so we'll just pop that on there, and what you can do is just, I've got a little bit of adhesive tape, which is a good idea to pop on there as well. There we go, just to prevent. There's nothing worse than trying to get the soft band off when all the blood has soaked through. It's extremely painful for your dog. So when applying the bandage, what's really important is to follow what they call the 50-50 principle, and that is that 50% of your bandage overlaps so that you have consistent tension. You start from the bottom, moving up. If you had to start from the top, moving down, you'd create a lot of blood pooling at the bottom. And then you just go up and use a joint to anchor your bandage, and then coming back down, again using the 50-50% principle. Okay. So now we're going to apply, you could apply what they call a conforming bandage, but again, this is just to get your dog to the nearest vet in when something's happened out on your walks or at home. So you're going to be popping on the cohesive layer, your protective layer. Now make sure that some of the soft band is sticking out to the edge, and the reason for that is this cohesive layer, the vet wrap, does actually cut into them, into the skin, especially with the Greyhounds, and you don't want any additional irritation occurring, especially the vet wrap does self-tension as well. So another thing to always remember when using vet wrap is to pre-stretch it. So we're going to be just stretching that out and then gently rolling that back onto the roll. And before you start, you're going to just take your finger and pop that under to ensure that you can get 1 or 2 fingers underneath that soft band to ensure the tension is not too tight. You don't want to be cutting off the blood circulation. So you've pre-stretched your vet wrap. You're going to pop it on to your vet band, your soft band, making sure that the edges are sticking out. And again, just very, very gently, you're going to be rolling it. You're not going to be pulling like this whatsoever. We don't want to cut off the blood circulation. Again, following that 50-50 rule to make sure that there's even tension. And you'll see, making sure that that soft band is sticking out. And then there we go. Right, and before I finish off, I'm going to be checking again, can I get my half finger through there? Yep. And can I get 2 fingers? Even better. Okay, and we've got our basic bandage technique sorted. Now, if you were having to cover the feet, please, with our greyhounds, always make sure with all dogs, or any animals, cats included, make sure that you're using soft band to just pop and pad between the toes, and this will prevent pressure sores from forming. Please never ever use cotton wool balls or pieces of cotton wool. What happens with cotton wool is when it gets damp in the feet, especially because your dogs sweat through their paws and it gets all nice and damp, or it gets wet, your cotton wool is going to go into really, really rock solid little balls, and it's going to feel like pebbles in between your dog's feet. And that's generally another thing. If you see the dogs pulling at their bandages and they're trying to rip them off and they're trying to chew them, it's often one of 2 things. The pressure of the bandage might be too tight and really uncomfortable. This vet wrap could be cutting into them as well. And if you have used anything like the cotton wool to pad, and they could be rock solid in between those little toes and be really, really painful. So yeah, you don't want to be using that. Use the soft band to pop that between the toes. Okay. Right, and there we go, bandage sorted. And now if we are going on our walk and it's rainy weather, ask your vet for a couple of empty IV bags, and you can pop that on, and then yeah, you'll just lace through. You can see this is Dolly's one, which is really well used, and you can just lace through a little bit of ribbon. And that way as well, if it is bleeding quite profusely while you're on your way to the vet, your car's not going to look like a blood bath by the time you arrive at the vet clinic. So always keep a towel in your car, or a couple of blankies as well. I'll also keep a couple of little baby socks, and at Kmart you can actually buy these cute little pet socks that have got non-slip surface, so those are also really handy. Any odd socks at the washing machine has an Eton, that's a good one. And then another amazing invention is Catherine Corbet's no leaky socks. So the legendary Greyhound Dave, she made these for Dave and Davey, and they're an absolute godsend to use to prevent the dogs from licking and pulling at their bandages if you've checked that there's no issues with the bandages. Great, so that's just your basic bandaging technique, and then the other techniques, doing the paws, doing ears, doing tail bandages. Those we'll do in different video clips. You can ask your vet nurses how to apply those bandages as well. Anything that's post-surgery they'll help you with, or you can also give me a call or send me a message, and I'll see how I can help out. Great, thanks very much.